Snoring? Gasping during sleep? Feeling fatigued? Wake up to Zepbound Tirzepatide, the first and only FDA-approved prescription medicine for moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, in adults with obesity. Zepbound is an injectable prescription medicine that may help adults with moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, and obesity to improve their OSA. Zepbound should be used with a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. Zepbound is approved as a 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, or 15 milligram injection. Zepbound contains tirzepatide and should not be used with other tirzepatide-containing products or any GLP-1 receptor agonist medicines. It is not known if Zepbound is safe and effective for use in children. Do not share needles or pens, or reuse needles. Don't take Zepbound if allergic to it, or if you or someone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer or multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Tell your doctor if you get a lump or swelling in your neck. Stop Zepbound and call your doctor if you have severe stomach pain or a serious allergic reaction. Severe side effects may include inflamed pancreas or gallbladder problems. Tell your doctor if you experience vision changes, depression, or suicidal thoughts before scheduled procedures with anesthesia. If you're nursing, pregnant, plan to be, or taking birth control pills. Taking Zepbound with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can cause dehydration and worsen kidney problems. Talk to your doctor. Call 1-800-545-5979 or visit Zepbound.lilly.com. Zepbound and its delivery device base and QuickPen are registered trademarks owned or licensed by Eli Lilly and Company, its subsidiaries or affiliates.
Spring clean that podcast feed and skip the doom scroll. The Newsworthy gets you caught up on the day's news in less than 15 minutes and gives you some fun conversation starters along the way. It's quick, friendly, and informative. Search The Newsworthy wherever you're listening now and follow or subscribe to The Newsworthy today.
To avoid slaughter, a group of chickens plot their escape from a poultry farm. Join us as we discuss referring to your spouse as Mr. or Mrs., the shelf life of chicken pie, and the romantic chemistry of claymation characters. Then we see if Chicken Run stands the test of time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Test of Time. My name is Alan Noah, and joining me, as always, is my favorite cock, you, James Brief.
I didn't go to the University of South Carolina, but I know what you did there, Alan.
It was a chicken joke. Get it?
I do, and have you ever heard of the claymation series from Peter Lord and Nick Park, the guy that did Chicken Run? It's called Wallace and Gromit.
Yes, you've talked about it, I think, on the podcast or just in our off-air conversations. And I think I had seen maybe some of the old Wallace and Gromit shorts. I know you like the movie, right? The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I never saw the movie, but I'm aware of it.
I found The Curse of the Were-Rabbit to be a great film. The shorts are they're absolute magic. There were 3 shorts that were released in 89, 93, and 95. I discovered them in college on like a VHS box set. Each one was a half-hour VHS. But the first one, A Grand Day Out, was nominated for Best Animated Short, and the next 2 both won Best Animated Short. And that's probably where he got discovered, and then DreamWorks got him to make The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and he had a whole animation studio from that. Were-Rabbit came out in 2005, but Chicken Run, this is a film from 2000. So this is definitely the film, he got because of Wallace and Gromit. They weren't yet ready to give him a Wallace and Gromit movie, but Chicken Run came from that inspiration.
So you had seen Chicken Run before?
Oh, I saw it in the theater.
Got it. Okay. Well, I had never seen this movie before, and for anyone else who hadn't seen this movie before, it's a stop-motion animated film about a group of chickens living on a farm run by the mean Mr. and Mrs. Tweety. The chickens, led by the determined Ginger, constantly try to escape, but repeatedly fail. When an American rooster named Rocky crash lands in the farmyard, Ginger believes he's their secret to salvation, as Rocky can teach them to fly. And they have to work fast, because Mrs. Tweety has bought a machine that will turn the chickens into pies. But Ginger comes to learn Rocky's secret, that he can't actually fly on his own, and that he was only able to be airborne because he was shot from a cannon. Rocky leaves the farm in shame, but Ginger comes up with another idea, and has her fellow chickens build a plane. Rocky eventually returns and helps the flock escape to a sanctuary. So when this movie came out in 2000, you saw it in the theater. Did a lot of other people see it too?
Oh, yeah, this was a big hit. The film came out, it had various debuts around the world, but it came out stateside June 23rd, 2000, and it opened at number 2 to a movie that actually was the Farrelly Brothers' follow-up to There's Something About Mary. Do you remember what film that was?
Me, Myself, and Irene?
That's right, yeah. So that opened pretty big with $24 million. And Chicken Run opened at number 2 with $17.5 million. It ended with $106 million domestically, $228 million worldwide. So yeah, very, very profitable film. Wound up having DVD sequels.
I thought it was a Netflix sequel.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it was a Netflix sequel. Did you know that this film was, it's based on a famous World War II flick called The Great Escape, but with Steve McQueen?
It's not necessarily a remake of it, but it took some inspiration, I believe, especially in the opening montage, where you see a lot of different escape attempts. That's where most of the Great Escape stuff comes from. At least according to what I read. I haven't ever seen The Great Escape. We should do that on the podcast at some point.
We could. I've never seen the full thing, but this chicken coop absolutely looks like a World War II POW camp.
Yeah.
Mrs. Tweety's definitely like a Nazi warden. I mean, that's not even that surprising that she's supposed to be like a stand-in for Nazis.
There are definitely allegories to prison camps and labor camps. You could look at it as a commentary on prison labor or any kind of forced labor, or honestly, even just kind of labor in general. People working in factories, not necessarily against their will, but who are underpaid and undervalued.
Or a prison escape film. I mean, it's very lighthearted, but it actually has some very serious themes.
Yeah.
You could look at it, and obviously Mrs. Tweety is a horrible, horrible villain from our point of view. But when you think about it, I mean, you and I eat chicken sandwiches. Where do we think this stuff comes from?
Right. And I think people also look at this movie as a commentary on farming and animal farming and vegetarianism. And you could definitely argue that this movie makes the case for not eating meat. I don't know if the filmmakers themselves are vegetarian, if that was something they were really going for, but I could totally imagine a kid watching this movie and then going home and mom says, all right, let's have chicken nuggets for lunch. And the kid saying, no, I don't want to eat chicken nuggets anymore, because if that's where chickens come from and they're cute creatures, look, my daughter's vegetarian because she looks at animals as living creatures and she doesn't want to eat them. Just kind of going back to the Tweeties, to me, it's funny / eye roll worthy / I just don't understand when married couples refer to each other as Mr. and Mrs. and the last name. I can maybe buy that it's a British thing, or that it's an old-fashioned thing, or that maybe it's a thing you would do in public, referring to your husband as Mr. Tweety when you're in mixed company. But if it's just the two of you talking and you say, Mr. Tweety, go do this. Okay, Mrs. Tweety, that just feels so goddamn weird.
The only thing I could account is those first two choices you said. I'm going with British and old-fashioned. And I actually didn't realize they were married. I remember not realizing they were married in the beginning. I thought maybe he was like the groundskeeper.
Well, yeah, and they don't come across as a married couple because there's absolutely no love or affection between these two. She is the taskmaster. He does whatever she says. He resents her. She resents him. It's a shitty marriage, for sure. it's a G-rated movie, so she's not going to call him a fucking loser, but she might just call him an idiot or a dumbass or whatever.
You know, I don't recall. I'm trying to date this film in terms of when it's supposed to take place. And obviously the plane and the kind of steampunk mechanics of the chicken pot pie machine don't help. But I don't think we can tell when the film takes place.
It's not clear in the movie itself. I did see on the IMDb trivia that it's supposed to take place in 1959.
Okay.
To which I could say, sure. The only thing we really know about the timing is that it's post-World War II, because Fowler keeps talking about his time in World War II. And it does come into play towards the end of the movie. But at one point, while I was watching it, when he was talking about, his time in the Air Force, I was thinking, but you're a chicken, and chickens aren't soldiers. And no, shut up, Alan. You're not supposed to think about this. This is a classic thing. Alan, you're overthinking it. And then later at the end, when they're like, hey, wait a second, chickens didn't fly planes in World War II. The people did. Duh. Like, yeah, because in this world, there are chickens and humans, so it wouldn't make sense for the chickens to fly the planes.
Right. I love the Fowler payoff because it's even better than what you said. It's Fowler himself who's like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm a fucking chicken.
Right.
Why would I fly a complex mechanical craft?
Right. That doesn't make any sense.
When I watch this film now, knowing the payoff at the end that, Fowler's not a soldier in any way, he never, ever says this. All he talks about is the discipline of the Royal Air Force.
He does talk about how all of the different members of his platoon had different jobs. And
True.
I didn't go back and rewatch it to hear what he was saying. But at that point, I kind of thought that he had given all of them things to do as part of the RAF, the Royal Air Force.
There's no reason that we can't retcon that within the RAF mascot division or pigeon division, whatever he called it, the bird division, that there can't be their own little, and I'm going to say this like Disney-fied rank and file. That's perfectly fine because in this universe, Fowler is sentient and talks.
Right.
I think within the cutesiness of it works.
Sure. I really liked his line when he first meets Rocky, and he says that the Americans are always showing up late for every war, and they're overpaid, oversexed, and over here, which was a thing that British soldiers would complain about the American soldiers in World War II. I was also just surprised to hear the word sex in this movie. Again, it's rated G, not PG, but G. Whatever, it's a throwaway line. I can imagine kids hearing it and not noticing it or paying any attention to it at all. I mean, there is a quasi-sex joke in the movie that these are all chickens, they're all female, and then Rocky shows up and they're all kind of boy crazy because the only male in their normal grouping is Fowler, who's the old man, and so now here's a attractive young male, and all of the female chickens kind of throw themselves at him.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm surprised it did get that G rating as opposed to PG. At least by 2026 standards, rated G is like Coco Melon shit.
Right.
Thomas the Engine. I mean, this stuff is super duper clean. This film, I think, it's a little heavy for a G.
Well, they don't really lean into the chickens having sex or anything like that. They don't even really lean into Rocky being a sexy chicken. It's just kind of more flirtatiousness. To me, the least G-rated thing about this movie is when that one chicken is executed early in the movie for not producing enough eggs. And even that, it's not graphic. You don't see it. You clearly know what's happening. They bring the chicken into the shed with a stump and an axe, and you hear a thud and everyone's sad. So you get it.
And it happens at the climax. We literally see her, she swings the axe, and we see for a moment that Ginger appears to be decapitated.
Right. But, earlier we were talking about a lot of the themes of this movie. It did strike me that this movie is incredibly feminist. It's a mostly female cast, which makes sense. They're chickens. You can compare it to the prison camps and the labor camps and all of those things. It really is about women and their value. You can think of like a prison labor camp as prisoners making license plates, or, even in a POW camp, they sometimes had the prisoners making stuff, building things. Here, what the laborers are creating are eggs. They're not fertilized eggs, but it's life. This is what these chickens are creating with their bodies. I'm not going to go into a whole feminist theory thing, but women in society are generally undervalued for their labor in terms of creating life, raising kids, caretaking, all of those things. And their value is tied to the life they make. That chicken that's executed, she's killed because she's no longer making eggs. She's no longer creating life. Therefore, her life has no value and she's executed. And, Ginger is a badass leader of this crew. And I really like all of the feminism in this movie. It is somewhat hurt by the fact that the male lead is voiced by Mel fucking Gibson. Piece of shit, anti-Semite, accused of assaulting his girlfriend, wife, I forget. A lot of that stuff came out after this movie was made, but it does kind of hurt the movie retroactively.
Certainly, it's different than when I saw this in the theater. That part does not stand up.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I didn't quite see all of the feminist things. I did see more of the themes as they're enslaved, and it's a little more capitalist, because it seems that Mrs. Tweedy's she's doing okay, but she realized that she can get way more profits if she just kills these chickens.
You see the profits are going down. There's like a chart.
Yeah, they're going down. But I mean, egg prices fluctuate all the time. And then again, we also know as a test of time, being in the egg business is probably overall profitable if you know what you're doing.
Like the capitalism themes are there for sure. Absolutely. It does also strike me as a bad business decision to go exclusively from being an egg farm to exclusively being a chicken farm, because once they kill all of those chickens and turn them all into pies, well, then they're done. Like, how are they making more pies and making more profits?
It doesn't make sense unless we can imagine that there are just thousands of chickens and we are only focused. No, wait, actually, that's not true, because Ginger is about getting all of them out, because she specifically says that it's easy to get 1 or 2 chickens out, but she wants to get the entire flock out. So you're right, Al. Her plan makes no sense from a capitalistic point of view. Even if it's a big hit, she won't be able to replenish the supply. And this is a food. You have to get it back into the market quickly.
What's the shelf life of a chicken pie? A week? 2? 2 seems like a lot.
Even if she sells out of all 200 pies that she sells, how are you going to get 200 more pies? You're going to need 200 more chickens.
Right.
It is a little bit of flipping what usually is there, where it's usually the evil male husband. Mr. Tweedy is right about everything, and he's completely ignored.
Yeah, if Mrs. Tweedy had believed him, she could have avoided her chickens escaping.
Yeah.
When Ginger figures out what the farmers are doing by fattening them up, she really tries to motivate all the other chickens, like, hey, we've got to get out of here. We all have to escape because we're going to die. Rocky's advice is, hey, shut up. You can't tell them that. She's saying, I'm just telling them the truth. And he says, yeah, people don't want to hear the truth. You have to tell people what they want to hear. That felt very Trumpian to me, where you had Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris speaking the truth about the dangers of this man, and people didn't want to hear that. What they wanted to hear was what Donald Trump was telling them. It didn't matter if it was true or false. They just want to hear the guy telling them the things that'll make them feel better, not beware the doom and gloom.
I think in these kind of war, POW situations, there definitely are these kind of speeches where the person says, no, you absolutely have to lie to that person. Why are you lying to them? Because I'm giving them hope. And hope is something that they absolutely need. And even if the chances are 1,000,000 to 1, I can't tell them it's 1,000,000 to 1. I have to tell them that it's maybe 10 to 1. Not everyone is perfect. Ginger is not right about everything, and Rocky is not wrong about everything. I don't entirely agree that you have to tell people what they want is always bad.
That's a fair point. Also, Rocky is saying the shitty thing that men say to women that a lot of women really fucking hate, when a woman says something alarming concerning something that she's worried about, and the man says, hey, relax, don't worry about it, everything's going to be fine, smile more, whatever, let's have a party. And like, you can argue that, yeah, sometimes maybe it's okay to just cut loose and forget about your problems for a little bit, but that is also just kind of the shitty thing, you know? Like, no, we shouldn't dance the night away. We should be worried about being murdered tomorrow.
I 99% agree with you. The only change I would make is that it's not a man to a woman thing. It's just, that's an asshole thing. A man to a man, a woman to a man, a woman to a woman. It's condescending, dismissive. And yeah, Rocky, that's his whole shtick though. He's this good looking guy who just says, hey, baby, like his smile usually gets him out of trouble.
Right. In the beginning of the movie, when Ginger and Rocky first meet, he's saying that she needs to help him. She needs to hide him. And Ginger says, why should I? And he says, because I'm cute.
Yeah.
And Ginger is totally unimpressed. She's like, nope, that's not a reason. He usually can skate by on his looks and his charm. And Ginger's not going to go for that. She wants him to teach her and the rest of the chickens how to fly. He promises to help, but he does choose his words carefully. He says, I promise to teach you everything I know.
Right.
And he doesn't know much. And then he does the same thing with the rats, where he allows them to think that he can lay eggs, but he doesn't specifically say, I can lay eggs. They ask him for an egg, and he says, I'll do what I can, or something like that.
Right.
So he's not lying, but he's avoiding telling the truth.
Mel Gibson's aside, I really like the way the Rocky character grows. And yeah, Rocky messes up when he first meets Ginger. He's a little bit too like, hey, baby. But Ginger basically holds him by the balls and is at that point, I'm going to turn you in unless you teach us how to fly. And at that point, Rocky had only been kind of a jerk. And really, he kind of had no choice other than to say, yeah, sure, I'll teach you how to fly. Just hide me. This is something that one conversation the next day when things have quieted down could have, you wouldn't have a plot of the film. But in the panic, I understand why he did what he did. And of course, I like his growth because he successfully escapes through only his conscience. And I don't think it's too trite. I think he sees the billboard of the chicken pies. He knows the fate of not just Ginger, but every one of those poor girls. Even though he's successfully escaped and he's free and he's on his own, he does go back. And I like his overall arc.
I get what you're saying. I think it bothers me for a couple of reasons. One, I hate the romantic subplot with Rocky and Ginger.
Fair.
And the fact that he learns his lesson and goes back, sure, whatever. The fact that he helps with the final escape, but doesn't do everything. I mean, like, Ginger is mainly the hero of that final flight where she comes up with the plane idea, gets them going. She gets rid of Mrs. Tweedy while she's dangling on the Christmas lights. Rocky helps, but he is not the hero. So I like that. I don't see why Rocky and Ginger get together.
That's only for the chicks at the end because it's a sanctuary and they've survived and it's a new generation.
But that's why you need Rocky to get together with a female to make chicks. I don't think it needs to be Ginger. There's plenty of other characters that he could have gotten together with. I don't really see why Ginger likes him romantically. I see why she would appreciate the fact that he comes back at the end. It's weird talking about the romantic chemistry of claymation chickens, but I don't think they have any romantic spark at all.
You're right. Like, I did not see Chicken Run 2, but you would have to assume that after the events of the film, they're going to have to introduce some other roosters into this environment.
Of course. Also, in terms of Rocky's growth, I don't like it because it's fucking voiced by Mel Gibson. But even putting that to the side, you mentioned Rocky seeing the billboard and then, having the crisis of conscience, but he never comes clean about lying. He leaves in the middle of the night, and then she finds, the piece of the poster with the cannon. And then when he does come back, she slaps him. That's for leaving. And then she goes to kiss him, and that's for coming back. But he never says, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have lied. I was insecure. That was wrong. Please, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me, etc., something. He never comes clean. So then at the end, when they're happily ever after, that feels extra hollow to me because he never had to earn back her affection or her trust.
Fair argument. It would have certainly been a welcome line that he apologizes and then gets slapped. That's for leaving. And this is, me forgiving you.
Sure.
It would have worked better that way. You're right.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that he comes back with the tricycle, as he jumps over the barbed wire fence, he's screaming, Ginger. So he comes back for her. Yeah, you should apologize. And let's just, I would assume he does off camera.
Sure.
But, there are two lines that made me laugh out loud that I wanted to bring up. I remember one of these was in the trailer, because I do remember seeing the trailer for this and being very excited about this. But there's the line from Ginger. She has that very impassioned, before we're going to escape from prison or POW camp speech. And she ends it with, we either die free chickens or die tonight. And then the adorable chicken, she just goes, those are only choices. I love that line. And they have all the different chickens from the Commonwealth. You have Scottish chickens, English chickens, Irish chickens. When they escape on the plane, Fowler's saying that they need to get more altitude and something is preventing them from getting higher because it's Mrs. Tweedy. She grabbed the Christmas lights. And then the Scottish chicken goes, Sir, it's a Klingon. And you see, she's clinging on the ropes. I know it's a Star Trek reference, so automatically it's an eye roll to probably you, Al, but that was fantastic. I thought that was a great line.
It's not a video podcast, so the listeners can't see me rolling my eyes. I hope you can maybe hear it. Maybe the microphone is picking up the audio of me rolling my eyes. And you know what? My eyes were rolling that heavily when I watched that scene, and I was thinking, oh God, I bet James loves this.
Yes.
I imagined you jumping up and down on your couch, not in front of your couch, that you were on the couch jumping up and down. Yay! They said a Star Trek thing! Whee!
Basically, I did Tom Cruise, Oprah. I did that, yeah.
Yes. But James, let me ask you about the movie as a whole. Do you think that Chicken Run stands the test of time?
Oh, yeah. I think this film it's wonderful. Mel Gibson's in it.
Boo.
But it comes down to how far down the rabbit hole do you go with people that just are in a film. I'm just willing to say, yeah, Mel Gibson doesn't stand the test of time right out. But for me, this film does stand the test of time. It's funny, it's well animated, it's got a good plot. The voice acting is absolutely wonderful. Miranda Richardson, she was Mrs. Tweedy. Julia Sawalha, she was fantastic as Ginger. I thought everyone was good. The rats were very funny. I watched it with Carly. We both had a great time. Overall, I thought this was a great, quick film and stood the test of time for me. What about you? Does this film stand the test of time? I'm actually curious for this one now.
Yes. Fuck Mel Gibson permanently and forever. Fuck that guy. He can fuck all the way off. But this movie is delightful. It's fun. It's a romp. It's a good time. I didn't watch this with the kids, but having seen really, really bad kids movies over the years, I appreciate when there's a kid-friendly movie that adults will also like, and this definitely falls into that category. It's a little heavy on the montages for my taste. There are so many montages, and the reason for that is that it's a pretty thin plot. And I'm not saying that as a really disparaging comment. It's these chickens are trying to escape, and so, they're going to have failures before they can get to the success. It makes sense, and the montages are fun. All of the attempted escapes in the beginning, those are fun. When they're building the plane at the end, that's another fun montage. It works. I wouldn't call myself a claymation fan in general, as in it's not a thing that I actively seek out, but whenever I watch it, it's really impressive. I saw something that they basically made this movie in chunks where for every day that they were working on this movie, they got 3 seconds of film, which is painstakingly slow. And you gotta tip your hat to them. I mean, that is a really remarkable dedication to the craft. This movie came out in 2000. Computer animation did exist. It probably would have made their lives a lot easier. It's impressive. Like, the chickens look great. I think if you look at it as just a fun movie with chickens who talk and have big, weird teeth and they escape, cool. If you look at it and think about the allegories for prisoners of war, forced labor, how society does not value women and their contribution to the workforce and labor and families and all of that's there. And I think that elevates the movie. I think it makes it more than just a silly movie with anthropomorphized animals. So yes, I definitely think that Chicken Run stands the test of time.
All right.
Good pick, James. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Next week, we're going to be talking about a very different movie, All the President's Men. That movie is celebrating its 50th anniversary. I have never seen it. I feel like that's a movie that's worth watching. It's worth celebrating the 50th anniversary, and I'm really looking forward to that conversation. In the meantime, we are at Test of Time Pod on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads. Let us know your thoughts on Chicken Run, on poultry farms, on roosters that claim to fly, on sexy chickens, on chickens flirting, on chickens fighting in World War II, anything chicken related. We love hearing from you, and we'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.